Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to be tackling something today that may not be the most thrilling topic, but it's so important.
Yeah.
We're talking about taxes.
Yes, we are.
But specifically, we're doing a deep dive today on what our source material calls the taxable bucket.
Right. And this is one of three buckets we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, so we've got some really interesting source material on this, and we're going to try to break this down for you and make this as painless and maybe even a little bit fun as possible.
That's right.
So the source material mentions this surprising connection between this taxable bucket and Social Security benefits down the road.
Yes.
And there's also this thing called the double compounding effect, which sounds pretty scary to me.
It is.
So let's just jump right in and can you kind of explain what exactly this taxable bucket they keep talking about?
Sure. So basically, the taxable bucket is where you have your everyday investments, things like CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and it's called taxable because any growth in these investments is taxed annually.
Okay.
You know, that 1099 form you get every year.
Right.
That's basically a report card on how your taxable bucket is doing.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But here's a question I have for you.
Sure.
Why would I want to keep money in a place where it's being constantly taxed?
Right.
Wouldn't it be smarter to just, stick to investments that are tax sheltered?
Well, that's a great question. And, there is a very important reason for having this taxable bucket. And it all boils down to liquidity.
Okay.
Imagine you have an unexpected expense come up like medical bill, car repairs, maybe a travel opportunity. You just can't pass up.
Right.
You need quick access to cash, right?
Yeah.
That's where the taxable bucket comes in.
Okay.
These investments are typically very easy to sell and convert to cash without, incurring hefty penalties or tax consequences.
I see. So it's about having that safety net for those just-in-case moments. The source material even suggests a specific amount, right? Something like 6 months' worth of income?
Precisely. They use an example of a couple needing $4,000 per month to cover their living expenses.
Okay.
To be prepared, for any curveballs life throws their way, they'd ideally have around $24,000 readily available in their taxable bucket.
If that makes sense.
It's peace of mind knowing that you have that cushion for life's unexpected bumps.
All right, so we've got a handle on why we need this taxable bucket.
Right.
But the source material also paints kind of an alarming picture of what happens if we overstuff this bucket.
Yeah.
They keep mentioning this double compounding effect and how it can really hurt your returns in the long run.
Right.
So can you kind of break that down for us a little? What is that?
So it's a little bit like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering more and more snow as it goes.
Okay.
Except in this case, the snow is taxes.
Oh, no.
So imagine this. You've got $100,000 invested in your taxable bucket, and it's earning a decent 5% return each year.
Okay.
That's $5,000 in growth. Sounds great, right?
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
But remember, this is the taxable bucket.
Oh, right.
So let's say your combined federal and state tax rate is 30%.
Okay.
That means Uncle Sam is taking a $1,500 slice right out of your $5,000 gain,
Okay.
leaving you with just $3,500 after taxes.
That makes sense. Taxes always take a bite, but how does this double compounding thing make it even worse?
All right, so here's the kicker.
Okay.
Let's say that tax rate increases just a little bit each year, just 1%. Now, fast forward 10 years. Your initial $100,000 has grown significantly thanks to that steady 5% return.
Right.
But guess what?
What?
Your tax bill has ballooned even more dramatically by year 10. You're actually paying a whopping 74% more in taxes than you did in year 1.
Wow.
Even though your investment returns stayed the same.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's like being penalized for doing well.
You're starting to see the danger here, right? It's not just about taxes taking a bite out of your returns. It's about those taxes growing exponentially over time, especially if tax rates climb, and it can significantly erode your wealth. And that's what they mean by that double compounding effect, the compounding of your investment growth, alongside the compounding of your tax liability.
Man, that is not what I want happening to my money. So I have a question for you.
Sure.
The source material claims that stuffing your taxable bucket can also mess with your Social Security benefits.
Right.
Those seem like totally separate things to me.
On the surface, they seem totally separate.
Yeah.
But they are linked by this sneaky thing called provisional income.
Provisional income?
Yeah, it's like a special category of income the IRS uses to determine how much of your Social Security benefits are taxable.
Oh, okay. So how does my taxable bucket factor into this provisional income calculation?
Well, all those dividends, interest payments, capital gains, generated by your investments in the taxable bucket, they all contribute to your provisional income. And if that number gets too high, it can push you over certain thresholds, and boom, a portion of your Social Security benefits become taxable.
So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah.
You're getting hit with higher taxes on your investments. A&D, a chunk of your Social Security is suddenly taxable too.
Exactly. The source material shares this really startling anecdote to illustrate this.
Okay.
Picture this. An elderly couple walks into a financial advisor's office, seemingly very well prepared for retirement.
Okay.
They've got 9 CDs, each worth a cool $100,000 spread across 9 different banks.
Wow.
That's $900,000 sitting in their taxable bucket.
That's a lot of CDs.
It is.
You'd think they'd be sitting pretty right.
You would think so, but their strategy backfired in a big way.
Really?
Yeah, their good intentions seeking safety and liquidity with those CDs ended up creating this massive tax liability that was slowly but surely chipping away at their retirement nest egg.
$900,000 in CDs, and they ended up worse off. I'm starting to think CDs are like the financial equivalent of those tempting snacks in the pantry. Good in small doses.
Yeah.
But potentially disastrous if you overindulge.
That's a great analogy. The key takeaway here is balance. The taxable bucket isn't inherently bad. It's a valuable tool when used strategically.
Right.
But like anything else, too much of a good thing can lead to unintended consequences.
So if this couple went overboard with their CDs, what exactly were the downsides they faced? The source material mentions several.
Well, first and foremost, they were exposed to what's called tax rate risk.
Tax rate risk.
Yeah, as we discussed earlier, tax rates can fluctuate.
Right.
And if they rise in the future, the taxes on their CD interest could significantly increase, diminishing their returns.
And remember how we talked about that double compounding effect?
Yeah.
It's probably hitting them hard too, right?
Absolutely. The compounding of their investment growth, coupled with potentially rising tax rates, creates that double whammy effect.
Right.
That eats away at their savings. It's a silent wealth killer that many people overlook.
Okay, so tax rate risk and the double compounding effect, what else was working against them?
Well, there's also the issue of inflation. The source material highlights that their CD returns were likely lower than the rate of inflation.
Oh?
Meaning they were actually losing purchasing power each year.
Hold on, are you saying their money was losing value even though it was safely tucked away in those CDs?
That's the insidious nature of inflation. It erodes the value of your money over time.
Wow.
If your investments aren't earning a return that outpaces inflation, you're effectively falling behind.
It's like running on a treadmill. You're putting in the effort.
Exactly.
But you're not actually going anywhere.
Right.
So they're getting hit with taxes, tax rate risk, the double compounding effect, any inflation, anything else?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about provisional income and its impact on Social Security benefits?
Uh-huh.
Well, with $900,000 in CDs generating taxable interest income,
Right.
this couple was almost guaranteed to have a portion of their Social Security benefits taxed as well.
Ouch. Talk about adding insult to injury.
I know.
It sounds like they fell into the trap of prioritizing safety and liquidity above all else without considering the long-term tax implications.
You're spot on, and this isn't just a hypothetical scenario.
Right.
It's a very real issue that many people face, particularly those approaching retirement.
Yeah.
They gravitate towards familiars, safe investments like CDs without fully understanding the potential downsides.
Okay, so we've established that stuffing your taxable bucket can lead to some serious financial headaches down the road.
Right.
But before we all rush to empty our taxable accounts,
Yeah,
let's talk about some practical strategies for finding the right balance.
absolutely.
So it's not about eliminating the taxable bucket entirely, but about using it more strategically.
Exactly. The source material emphasizes that your taxable bucket should primarily serve as a cushion
Okay.
for those unexpected expenses we talked about earlier.
For an emergency fund.
Exactly. Think of it as your emergency fund, a safety net to cover 6 months' worth of living expenses, easily accessible when you need it.
But what about any extra funds beyond that 6-month cushion? Where should those go if not the taxable bucket?
That's where the beauty of a diversified financial plan comes in.
Okay.
The source material actually talks about 2 other buckets
Right.
that are essential for long-term wealth-building tax-deferred and tax-free accounts.
Ooh, those sound interesting.
Yeah.
Can you give us a sneak peek at those?
We'll dive into those in detail in future episodes, but just to give you a taste,
Okay.
think of tax-deferred accounts as a way to postpone paying taxes on your investments until retirement.
Okay.
This allows your money to grow and compound for longer without being chipped away by annual taxes.
So it's like a temporary tax break letting your investments gain momentum?
Precisely. Popular examples include 401ks and traditional IRAs.
Oh, okay.
Now, tax-free accounts, those are a bit like the holy grail of investing.
Oh, wow.
Not only do you contribute after-tax dollars,
Right.
but you also never pay taxes on the growth or withdrawals even in retirement.
Really?
It's tax-free growth for life.
Wow, sign me up. Are those Roth IRAs you're talking about?
We'll definitely be unpacking those in a future episode.
That's a deep dive. I'm definitely looking forward to.
I think you'll enjoy it.
But for now, let's get back to optimizing our taxable bucket.
Okay.
What are some practical tips for minimizing the tax bite?
One strategy is to be mindful of the types of investments you hold within this bucket.
Okay.
For example, consider investments that generate qualified dividends,
Okay.
which are taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income.
I see.
It's all about choosing investments that align with your overall tax strategy.
So it's not just about how much you have in the taxable bucket,
Right.
but also what kinds of investments are in there.
Exactly.
Makes sense. What else can we do to be tax savvy?
Well, have you heard of tax loss harvesting?
Tax loss harvesting.
Yeah, it's a technique that can help you offset gains in your taxable portfolio
Okay.
by strategically selling investments that have experienced a loss.
That sounds intriguing, but can you break it down a bit further for us? How exactly does tax loss harvesting work in practice?
Let's say you have some stocks in your taxable bucket that has taken a hit.
Okay.
By selling those stocks at a loss,
Mm-hmm.
you can use those losses to offset any gains you've realized
Okay.
from other investments in your portfolio, potentially reducing your overall tax liability for the year.
Interesting.
It's like turning financial lemons into lemonade tax-wise.
It sounds like a clever way to use losses to your advantage.
Yeah.
But it also seems like a strategy that requires careful planning and execution.
You're right. Tax loss harvesting isn't a set-it-and-forget-it strategy.
Right.
It's best to consult with a financial advisor who can help you navigate the complexities
Okay.
and ensure it aligns with your long-term investment goals and tax situation.
I see.
They can assess your individual circumstances and guide you towards the most tax-efficient approach.
This is incredibly helpful. I'm starting to see the taxable bucket in a whole new light, not as a necessary evil, but as a strategic tool for managing my finances.
Right.
It's all about finding that sweet spot, enough liquidity for peace of mind, but not so much that I trigger a tax avalanche.
Exactly. And remember, we've only just scratched the surface.
Right.
There's a whole world of tax-efficient strategies and investment options to explore.
Yeah.
And we'll be diving into those in future episodes.
I can't wait. Before we move on, though, there's one more thing that's been bugging me.
Sure.
The source material made a comparison between investing in CDs and stashing money under the mattress.
Yeah.
Didn't that seem a bit harsh?
You're right. It might come across as a bit extreme, but the point they're trying to make is that while CDs offer FDIC insurance,
Right.
their returns often fail to keep pace with inflation.
Okay.
You might feel secure with your money tucked away, but in reality, its purchasing power is slowly eroding.
Ah, so it's back to that treadmill analogy. You might be earning interest, but it's not enough to outrun inflation. You're not actually getting ahead financially.
Precisely. It's a crucial point to consider when choosing investments for your taxable bucket.
Right.
It's not just about safety and liquidity,
Right.
but also about ensuring your money is working hard for you and outpacing the rising cost of goods and services.
This has been an eye-opening discussion. I feel like I'm finally starting to grasp the nuances of the taxable bucket and its role in a comprehensive financial plan.
Great.
I'm already itching to learn more about those tax-deferred and tax-free accounts you mentioned.
We've got a lot more to explore, and I'm excited to share those insights with you in our next segment.
Awesome.
We'll be delving into the world of 401ks, traditional IRAs, and the ever-popular Roth IRAs, all powerful tools for building a secure and tax-efficient financial future. Stay tuned.
All right, we're back and ready to dive into those other two buckets you've been teasing us with.
Okay.
Tax-deferred and tax-free accounts. I'm
Okay.
all ears.
So these buckets are where it gets really interesting, especially if you're focused on long-term growth and minimizing your lifetime tax burden.
Okay.
They offer some pretty incredible advantages that can supercharge your wealth-building efforts.
Okay, let's start with tax-deferred accounts.
Okay.
You mentioned things like 401ks and traditional IRAs as examples, right?
Yes,
Are those the most common types?
absolutely. They're staples in most retirement plans.
Okay.
The magic of these accounts lies in the fact that you don't pay taxes on the money you contribute
Okay.
or the growth it generates
Right.
until you withdraw it in retirement.
So it's like hitting the pause button on your tax bill.
You could say that essentially you're getting a temporary pass from Uncle Sam, allowing your investments more time to compound and grow without being whittled away by annual taxes.
That makes a lot of sense. But what happens when you finally retire and start taking withdrawals?
Yeah.
Do you get slapped with a massive tax bill all at once?
Not necessarily, while you will owe taxes on those withdrawals.
Up.
You'll likely be in a lower tax bracket in retirement than during your peak earning years.
Okay.
So the strategy here is to leverage the power of compounding during your high-income years
All right.
and enjoy potentially lower tax rates when you withdraw the money in retirement.
Clever, but hold on. What if I'm already maxing out my 401k and IRA contributions?
Sure.
Are there any other tax-deferred options out there?
Absolutely. There's a whole world of tax-deferred options to explore. Annuities, for example,
Okay.
can offer tax-deferred growth and potentially provide a steady stream of income in retirement.
Okay.
Certain types of life insurance policies also have tax-deferred components that might be worth considering.
Interesting.
It really depends on your individual circumstances and goals.
Wow, I had no idea there were so many possibilities.
There's a lot out there.
Okay, so we've covered tax-deferred accounts, essentially a way to delay taxes and let your investments compound over time.
Right.
Now, what about those magical-sounding tax-free accounts?
Ah, yes. These are the rock stars of retirement savings.
Oh.
With tax-free accounts, you not only contribute after-tax dollars, but you also never pay taxes on the growth or withdrawals.
Wow.
Even in retirement, it's like a tax-free haven for your hard-earned money.
That sounds amazing. Tell me more.
The most well-known tax-free account is the Roth IRA.
Okay.
It's a fantastic option for long-term retirement savings, especially if you think you'll be in a higher tax bracket in retirement.
So with a Roth IRA, I'm paying taxes up front on my contributions,
Right.
but then all future growth and withdrawals are completely tax-free.
You're essentially locking in a 0% tax rate on all that future growth, which can be incredibly powerful over the long haul.
Wow.
And it's not just Roth IRAs.
Oh,
There are other tax-free options out there too, like 529 plans for education savings
right.
and health savings accounts, HSAs, for healthcare expenses.
This is mind-blowing stuff. I never realized how many different tools and strategies are available to navigate the world of taxes.
Yeah,
It's overwhelming, but also empowering to know that we have options.
exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. It can feel like drinking from a fire hose at first.
Oh, yeah.
But that's why it's so crucial to seek guidance from a qualified financial advisor.
Okay.
They can help you assess your individual financial situation goals and risk tolerance, and then recommend a personalized strategy that incorporates the right mix of taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free accounts.
It sounds like a financial advisor is like a tax-savvy Sherpa guiding us through the complex terrain of personal finance.
That's a great way to put it. They can help you create a roadmap for reaching your financial goals while minimizing your tax burden along the way. It's an investment in your financial well-being.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I started out feeling a bit intimidated by the whole topic of taxes,
I understand.
but now I feel empowered to take control of my financial future. It's amazing how a little knowledge can shift your perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, to equip you with the knowledge and insights to make informed decisions about your money.
Well said. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned something new and are feeling inspired to take charge of your financial journey. Remember, even small steps can lead to big results over time. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and happy investing. See you next time.